Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Starblast Studios coming here with a brand new figure review, and today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at the new Kong Studios Super Dragon Ball Heroes version of Vegito. Now, this figure was actually sent out to me by 5ktoys.com, so if you guys do want to go ahead and pick this figure up, a link will be down in the description below to 5K Toys. I want to thank 5K Toys so much for sending this figure out to me so quickly, and so that I can review for you guys right here. But going ahead and looking at the box, if you're familiar with the Kong Studios Goku, the Capsule Corp version, you'll recognize the exact same styling of the box that we got over here. It's just like that one printed shot. It could be the exact same shot. It could be their own artwork of Kong Studios. It's just Vegito right there on the front. On the back of the box, you don't got really anything else going on, and it's pretty much plain everywhere else throughout this entire box. So I think with that being said, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this guy out here and see what this figure is like outside of the packaging. Alright guys, so taking a quick look at this new Vegito, and I gotta say that Kong Studios has heavily impressed me with how they've made this figure. And just for comparison, which we'll put over here to the side right at the very beginning of this video, here we have the Kong Studios Goku, the Capsule Corp version, and you can tell that it is pretty much the exact same mold, the exact same engineering, because you can tell like with the way that they did the sleeves, it's going down, exactly the same way as the Kong Studios Goku. Check out my review for this Goku while you're here, because a lot of what they did that they did great with this new Vegito is a lot of the same mechanics that they did with this Goku. So if you like this figure and you want to pick this figure up, most likely you'll like this figure as well. So we're gonna go ahead and put that back off to the side and focus on the main figure of today, which is Vegito. And so one of the main concerns right out of the box was actually not even with the sculpting, because I know that they did a great job with the Capsule Corp Goku, so I was expecting this to be the exact same figure, and for the most part, it pretty much does feel like exactly the same. Quality control and everything, moving the joints around, it does have that sort of Kong Studios feel, which isn't that bad of a feel, to be completely honest with you, as I do feel like a lot of their quality has been improving as of late when it comes to their most recent releases. And when it comes to this Vegito, there is a couple of like gripes that I do have when it comes to the quality of the joints. So one of them that I found out the other day is like when you kick this joint forward, for whatever reason on mine, I am having some squeakiness of the legs going on right there. It doesn't feel like it's actually gonna break, but the sound is just very annoying, and I don't know, like you'd actually have to take some WD-40 or some just like some oil in there to actually go ahead and and take the squeakiness out of there. I don't want to actually loosen it up because I feel like it's tight and it feels the way that it should when you move it around. It's just the squeakiness of it is unfortunately it's just there. It's a problem with it. But just like with the actual Capsule Corp Goku, one thing that you are seeing as improvements with this figure is it does, just like how we move the leg, it does have a rubber floating piece right over here, making it so you actually can move the legs, and also fixing up the same problem that we had with the Kong Studios Goku Black, as if you guys saw from my review from a couple months ago. Whenever you moved the leg forward, it caused some cracking in whatever type of plastic that you were having. And honestly, I wouldn't mind Kong Studios to go ahead and make a new version of this figure to go ahead and really fix that issue and give us the best version of the Goku Black figure that they have. I feel like that would just be a really cool thing, although I don't see that actually happening, however, because it is supposed to be a limited release as part of what they did with their very first Super Saiyan Blue Goku. So I can understand why that wouldn't happen, although it'd just be really cool to see. But yeah, taking a look at the Vegito, so one of the things you're going to ultimately compare with when it comes to the actual faces is how are these when compared with the Demonical Fit faces. Now I'm just going to tell you straight, tell you how it is. Demonical Fit faces are actually a lot better when you actually look at them side by side. However, when you don't really have them side by side and you just have this when compared to with the Shfiguarts, honestly, these faces aren't even that bad. They actually came out fairly good. You can see over here, the stern face on this figure is actually looking pretty decent. The way that it's looking, with the eyes, the way that it's printed out on here, it looks pretty even. You looking around, the only difference that you would find when it comes to between this and actual Shfiguarts is you might find that the plastic is a little bit shinier, but when it comes to third-party companies, I'm able to give those a pass, unlike with the full Dookie Super Saiyan Goku. Yes, you're going to see me rant about that every single review. But since we are talking about the faces, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the individual faces that we got on this figure. First off, like what I showed up right over here is the stern face, and we get a new smiling face that is original to this figure that has the eyes looking off to the side. You do get a teeth graded face, which from some angles can kind of look a little bit weird, but not as bad as it could be. And lastly, for the base form head, because there is actually another form with this figure we'll get into, you do have a screaming face. Now, one thing I do want to point out when it comes to the actual screaming face is that I actually thought that it looked, very, interesting when we first saw it, but actually, now looking at it closer, it's not quite as bad. But one issue that I did have when it comes to all of these faces is just interchanging the front bang. Now, on this specific copy of my figure, interchanging the actual faces, now, like, if you let's put the stern face back on over here. Like, getting the faces on isn't that bad, but it's always just the hairs that I'm having trouble getting onto every single one of the faces, as they are very, very tight, and they seem to be a very tough squeeze. But I guess doing it right now on camera, it didn't look too bad, but I guess it merely just came as an issue when interchanging all of the other faces. So let's go ahead and try getting the teeth graded face right back on over here. Yeah, this is the one that's giving me problems. So on your copies of the figure, you may run into some inconsistency and trouble when it comes to interchanging the different faces, as not all of the sculpted holes on the actual face that you connect the bangs into is going to be as consistent as I feel like it should be. But since I did actually already mention the form, and we are getting into a lot of other things when it comes to this figure, let's go ahead and look at the Super Saiyan Blue head sculpt. That was the roughest transition ever. Now, I was initially very skeptical when I first saw the promo images for this hair sculpt, but like, I actually, the more I mess around with this figure, the more I'm really liking the colors of this Super Saiyan Blue head sculpt. The lighter blue does actually work really well for me, and whenever third-party companies take a sculpt and they do their own unique colors and not trying to replicate SH Figuarts, that's something I can honestly appreciate, because they're doing things that we don't have on SH Figuarts. It's like they're doing their own unique thing, giving them their own identity, and that's something I always really appreciate. And when it comes to the actual comparison, here is the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, and as you can tell, there are a lot of differences. Now, regardless of personal preference, again, I'm not suggesting that the personal preference really is going to be like a big deal, because I feel like there is going to be people that prefer this one over this one. It's not about which one is objectively better when it comes down to these figures. It's just the fact that they even tried to do something unique with it. And with the colors on it, I do really appreciate that. Now, if you guys actually do prefer the colors of this Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, and you happen to have that figure while also picking this figure up, why don't we just go ahead and interchange the hairs? And bam, just like that, if you happen to be a bigger fan of the SH Figuarts head, you can just put the actual SH Figuarts head right on top of this figure. And this was actually my first time interchanging the Kong Studios head on the SH Figuarts, and I actually think I like the colors of the Kong Studios version on this figure more, because the Super Saiyan Blue hair on here has a much lighter color, and it stands out from the rest of his blue outfit, which I really am enjoying on this figure. To me, the only thing that this does, the thing that this does is just simply add some more playability and give you a whole lot more fun options, as opposed to if they were to go down the route of making this figure a carbon copy of the SH Figuarts version. And when it comes to this, I always am appreciative of Kong Studios doing something new for the figures. And while we are still on the topic of looking at the Super Saiyan Blue hairs, here it is with the smirking face, the teeth gritted face on this figure, which, looking at it, it does still have that same issues as the base form head. And of course, the screaming face. Now, out of all of the faces on the Super Saiyan Blue head, I think the screaming face is my least favorite, and it's just because of the fact that the eyes are simply not aligned on here as well as they could be. And there is some benefits to it, though, as someone did point out to me on my Instagram live stream. Sorry, I forgot your name, or forgot who it was that said it. But a major difference between the Super Saiyan Blue heads between Kong Studios and SH Figuarts is the way that they did the lines around right underneath the eyes. It is a much more of a darker line, and the look actually really does work for Vegito. That's something I am really liking about it. There's something really cool about characters and the darker lines around the eyes. It just works sometimes. But again, out of all of the faces, the screaming face is the weakest for me, just simply because of the way that it looks. But honestly, not as bad as it could have been. Now we're going to take a small break from some of the accessories because I want to take a closer look at the aesthetics. So on the actual earrings, one thing that they did replicate on here from the actual SH Figuarts is that they have a lot more of that shiny look, which objectively to me looks a lot better than how they've done earrings in the past. I really do like how that looks. I really enjoy the colors of the orange and the black, all of that combining along with the figure to go with the blue belt. The way that they did the plastic all around with the sculpting, it does look really nice. I am heavily enjoying that. The plastic quality on here is done way better than how they did it on the Kong Studios Goku Black. You can see that this is the really subtle details that I really like that they did. There are some lines that goes across the actual gloves, which goes right over to the hands, which is sculpted on every single one of the hands. So I am really enjoying that as well. Part of the Super Dragon Ball Heroes look that they're doing with the figures. The actual pants are sculpted well, and the toes and the feet are they're all done exactly as they are done on the actual SH Figuarts version. But that is it for when it comes to the actual aesthetics. It's just when it comes to the other accessories, before we get into the hands, one thing that you might remember from the Kong Studios Goku is it has that interchangeable belt piece. So you can go ahead and take that off and go ahead and take this one and just put it on right there. And again, it is still that accessory that I am liking, just so you have like different options to go along with the Vegito. And I think it actually does really work well, but my preference is still going to be going along with the Resurrection F Goku belt piece that they replicated for this figure. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the hands. So when it comes to the actual hands out of the packaging, we do get a pair of fists, which comes on the figure right out of the packaging. We do get a karate chop hand for his right hand. We get a pair of open palm blast hands. We get a pair of gripping hands, and we actually get one of the actual hands which was replicated from the original Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, that being the hand that you basically take the final Kamehameha effect piece and put into. But when it comes to this figure, you don't actually get the final Kamehameha effect piece. However, I am glad that they did it, because if you have that thing from other figures, you can still take that exact effect and put it on with this figure if you decide you want to go ahead and do that. You also get an instant transmission hand, and then you also get two of the exact same hands which comes with the original Vegito, that being the Come At Me hand, which goes on his left arm, and the other hand, which is the hand that he used to hold down Zamasu in a couple of those other photos that he was in. Now for some size comparison, here it is standing right next to the SH Figuarts merged Zamasu, as well as the SH Figuarts Final Form Cooler. And for some other quick size comparisons, here it is standing right next to a Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku, as well as the SH Figuarts Hit. Now when it comes to the actual articulation, it is exactly the same as it was with the Kong Studios Capsule Corp Goku, so we're pretty much looking at exactly the same thing. But for those who don't know, it's with the actual Vegito head, you are getting the exact same amount of range, so that the head goes and looks up that far. It can go down that far, but just like with the actual SH Figuarts version, the face does fall off a little bit easily. You do get a little bit of that side-to-side movement as well, which always is appreciated with that little bit of extra range. You are somewhat having a little bit of that giraffe syndrome that the SH Figuarts Vegito does have, but you know, it is them copying the exact same mold as a figure, so that's not really something I can really fault them for. Now when it comes to the arms do go around that much. There is a butterfly joint, which it's actually the sleeve that I was trying to talk about, but that just came off right there. Not the butterfly joint. Let me just get that back on over here. So you do have a butterfly joint, which is unfortunately painted orange. So when I was actually doing my live review on Instagram, I said that that's the way it should be. No, this should actually be painted black. There's no reason for that to be painted orange. But again, that is something that just takes place with SH Figuarts in general. So I can't really fault them for that. Now, when it comes to the arms, you also still have that bicep swivel right in there. You do have the double jointed arms, and you do have a little bit of a rough wrist peg, which still gets around the exact same amount of articulation as you do on the SH Figuarts Vegito. When it comes to the torso, again, just like at the Kong Studios Goku, you are able to get him leaning this far forward, and not so much back, but yeah, that's pretty much enough. You can still get Vegito into some flying poses as well, just because of the head. You do have some side to side right over there, and some tilts, which is always appreciated to get on your figure. So Now, I'm just going to go ahead and move the left leg just so we can avoid the squeaking issue we talked about earlier. And unfortunately, hold on, let me actually, I don't want to, the skirt piece is getting caught like underneath in a weird way, but again, because it's rubber, you don't really got to worry about it too much, although just be wary, because sometimes you can get some creasing parts like happening right over here between the folds of between the cut of the skirt piece, and that's just something you should always just be wary of when it comes to the rubber on any figure. You do get a thigh swivel right in there. I'm just going to go ahead and move this leg anyway. You get double jointed knees, which on this knee it's a little bit tighter to actually move in. On this one it just feels actually like an SH Figuarts. And for the Ankylo Articulation, you know how it is with the actual SH Figuarts Vegito. The one problem with them is that they typically have a tighter angle articulation, but on this one it's actually not too bad. You actually get a pretty decent amount of range. Am I going crazy? Oh yeah. Okay, no. This Kong Studios is beating the actual SH Figuarts in ankle articulation. Who would have thought you'd see the day where that thing would happen? Now, with the toe hinges, that one is exactly like the SH Figuarts, but honestly, when it comes to the toe hinge, I don't even think they're nearly as important as the ankle articulation, so I love the fact that this Kong Studios is able to be better than the actual SH Figuarts copy of Vegito, like in terms of the ankle articulation. That's something I always am going to really appreciate when companies are able to do something like that. Now, for my final thoughts on this figure, I think Kong Studios did an absolute killer job with this new Vegito figure. I'm really just enjoying a lot of what the figure does in terms of adding more playability to the new figures. I like that they also added in the base form head to go along with this, in case you were some people who didn't pick up the Demonical Fit or the Class C Adventurer set. There's so much here to really just enjoy about the figure. Moving the figure around, the articulation, as you saw, the only one main issue that I was having with this Vegito was simply with that squeaky leg, but that's really it. Kong Studios, I think, has released a banger once again. They've improved I noticed that they've improved how they've been making their faces. I think that the faces on here are a lot better than how they handled the faces on the Ultra Instinct faces with the Capsule Corp Goku. And I really am just really enjoying it. I also really like the colors for the Super Saiyan Blue, Vegito hairs. This figure does a whole lot new, and I really gotta commend Kong Studios for their job that they are doing. I'm really looking forward to getting the Demonical Fit version of this figure, in order to go ahead and compare the two. But if you're familiar with a lot of the other stuff in the line, you should know that that there is going to be it is going to be the exact same mold as the Demonical Fit Counterattack K. But with that being said, for what we got right over here, I think this is just a really solid figure, especially for Vegito fans, for the colors that they did with the hair, for the new and improved engineering for the ankle articulation. There's a lot that Kong Studios is doing, and I can't wait to see how they're going to be improving with their figures in the future. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section down below. Tell me what you think about this figure. But anyways, I will see you guys in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Until then.